Echoes from the future. Things that have yet to have occurred may impact your life and how you feel today. Now, that's quite the statement. It sounds far-fetched, sounds a little Looney Tunes. I know. But hey, let's not get crazy here. Let's settle down, all right? But here is this video that I will play for everyone out there as soon as I compress, limit, EQ, saturate. I'm also going to go ahead and add a little high-end exciter sparkle, a little radio big bottom, too.
There we go.
That's what Cretchard likes. And I'm going to play this clip here. I'll bring it up on screen. And then we'll dissect it a little bit. This guy has discovered something strange about Google, and he wants to share it with everyone. So let me bring it up on screen. And I'll play it. Here we go. We're all set. Everyone buckle in. Here we go.
So I just found this out. If you go to Google Images and you type in 2024, it's all normal, just 2024, nothing crazy. You scroll back up, you put in 2025, and look what you see. Apocalypse, mask, lockdown, Armageddon, fighting, Earth exploding, all this crazy stuff. But then, when you scroll back up, you go to 2026, it's everything you'll see. It's just normalcy. 2026, no big deal. Nothing crazy is going on this year. But then when you go back to 2027, you'll see end of the world, shit's blowing up, everything's crazy, an explosive, apocalypse, freaking all this crazy stuff. Or asteroid, you saw the asteroid. 2028 is where it gets weird for America, apparently. It's all about America ending and countdown to apocalypse and, mass chaos and whatnot. And then, again, 29 is where it kicks off. Explosion, literally destruction, chaos. Should we worry? Shit's blowing up. Explosions, apocalypse. And now watch what 2030 is. Watch. Futuristic, AI, cities controlled by artificial intelligence, humans possibly controlled by them, United Nations stuff. What do they have planned for 2030?
So this is a recap what this guy is doing. He's doing Google image searches and just putting the year in there. And you can play along at home. I'm going to do it right now. I'll put in 2024. So this is what his algorithm, it's undetermined if he logged in, if he was logged into his Gmail account or if he was using incognito browser. Didn't state that. But here's what I got. 2024 images. And yeah, pretty much what he got there, which is just text. It looks like text of 2024 you'd use for like New Year's Eve, some kind of crappy PowerPoint presentation.
It's got to be crappy. What do you got against PowerPoint?
Nothing at all. But then 2025, yes, we do get some bad imagery of like some post-apocalyptic stuff, movie posters. We do get images of masks. One movie called 2025 Armageddon.
That sounds good.
Some pictures of Trump and people doing stuff. Just like
isn't there
planning and conspiring.
A Project 2025 that they're trying to blame on Trump or something like that?
So that is on here too, Project 2025, which basically is a new neocon document to implement once the Republicans get into power, if they get into power. And then 2026 image search. I'm not getting the results he did. Is mostly what I'm getting is 2026 results for when it comes to like World Cup and stuff like that.
Who's going to win the World Cup in 2026?
What's that?
Who's going to win the World Cup in 2026? That'd be good.
He didn't say, but what he was getting very similar stuff. He was getting like a lot of like trophy imagery, the FIFA World Cup. So I matched his. I'm getting what he is getting, and then what I'm getting 2027. I'm getting the first 4 are, it looks like apocalyptic kind of movie posters. It doesn't look good. And then also for 2028, Yeah, 2028. It looks like a lot of posters, more apocalyptic stuff. It appears to be Jesus and the Devil arm wrestling, which I'd see that movie.
Yeah, what movie is that?
Let's see here. It looks like
2028, The End. Is that what it says?
Yeah, it says 2028, end of the world. If you read, you will believe. Unlock mystery of 7-day creation story. Okay. And then so I'm getting very similar results to the guy who just spoke about this. And then 2029, asteroids. That's what we're getting from this Google image result here. So, interesting. Is this predictive programming? Is this the Google algorithm predicting something for us? Or is it just all kind of one coincidence? You know, there's a lot of movies that are put out with the title 2012, 2000, you know, all that kind of stuff, and because it sells. But this is very curious here. So what could be going on here? Well, we might all, maybe there's some sort of collective unconscious, and we're all tapping into some event years before it happens, and subconsciously we're producing artwork and creating imagery that kind of leans in that direction, unbeknownst to us. Here is a YouTube clip of this, I believe, a doctor who is investigating psychic phenomenon. And I'll play a little bit of this. And his studies and what research has been done so far could explain some of the stuff that we create, feel, and experience here as maybe coming from someplace in the not too distant future. So here it is. I'm going to play this right now.
Next Sunday.
I'm Dr. Mark Atala, and I want to welcome you to my office. I'm a cognitive scientist who studies time travel and retrocausality, which is how the future impacts the present and the past. And today I want to talk to you about the research of Daryl Bem, who in 2011 published a very famous series of studies called Feeling the Future. Now, if you're familiar with Daryl Bem, he's a prominent social psychologist who came up with the self-perception theory of attitude formation. But he also came up with some other theories too. And what he was specifically interested in the Feeling the Future research was this idea of retrocausality, that knowledge, when you're studying things like memory, that knowledge from the future can impact your recall in the present. And so this was published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, JPSP, which is a top-tier journal in psychology. And the editors even included a note with his, that was put up prior to his article that said, look, we know that this, I'm paraphrasing, we know that this sounds incredibly odd, but we've looked over the methodology, we looked over the statistics, and this is compelling research to publish. And so we're going ahead and publishing it.
That is weird.
So what were the studies about? Well, there were 9 different studies. I'm going to talk about 2 of them. And just to give you a sense of the kind of research that he did on retrocausality and the blowback that he received. So in one of the studies, it involves, there's 2 curtains, one on the right and one on the left on a computer screen. And then behind one of the curtains is a picture. And so you have to pick the curtain that has a picture behind it. Now, some of these are explicit erotic photos. This is YouTube, and so I can't show you pictures like that. And these were, it was combinations of men and women, whatever the research participant liked. That's what they would get to see. And there were also non-erotic photos too. But the point was you have to try to pick the curtain that has the photo behind it. Now, in theory, this is going to work out to be 50-50, that you have 50-50 chance of picking the curtain with a photo behind it. And that's actually what he found for the non-erotic photos, that 49.8% of the time, or just by chance, people were able to pick the curtain with the picture behind it. But for the erotic photos, the explicitly erotic photos, it went up to 53.1% of the time, which is better than chance. Now, I realize this isn't mind-blowing, but Bem's explanation was that evolutionarily, it's in your interest to be able to identify erotic situations. And so therefore, that explains why people were able to pick the curtain with explicit erotic photographs behind them with a greater than chance ability.
So, there's other experiments that he goes into. So he just says, well, if you're in a situation that is erotic, you're through evolution, you can just kind of, using your sixth sense, pick up on the situation. But there are other studies to suggest that these are actually echoes from the future. And especially if you encounter a relatively emotional situation, something that definitely impacts you, creates a strong feeling in you, that echoes through to the past. And you pick up on it there. And that would make sense, like an erotic situation, that definitely impacts your emotional state. Now, Dean Radin, he's been studying this kind of phenomenon for, I would say, decades at this point. And he's written a few books. One that I own is called Real Magic. And he kind of goes into some of these things. And I'll bring up in the study here. But I'll also post this in the podcast description. And this is essentially kind of what he found, is that this study is incredibly long and boring. And we can't
say that in the at the intro.
No, I know it did not.
In the summary,
it did not. So the key points here. This is titled electrodermal prescience of future emotions. Horrible title for a study, but this is what he found. So in the abstract, the investigators they investigated whether a human in the human's nervous system could anticipate future emotional experiences, and they did a double-blind study, kind of like what they did there. They showed one group of people non-erotic stuff, some people erotic stuff, and that they replicated it many different times. And they saw a significant positive correlation between one group and not the other. And the conclusion demonstrated that statistically, there is a robust form of precognition in the human nervous system, that you can feel the future. And this was done, I believe, in 1997. And that might explain some of why people they pick up on horribly traumatic events from the future, and it gets into their nervous system, maybe even their subconscious a little bit. And the only way they can express it maybe is through art in some way. And that is why people are producing the images they are, or seeking out those types of images when it comes to 2024, 2025, all those kinds of things. It's like we are receiving some sort of message from the future. And 2025 does not look good. 2026, according to Google Images, not so bad. And then
how come it was always the odd years were bad, the even years were okay?
Yeah, that's what it did seem like, according to this guy. And 2030, that's where it looks like some sort of utopia. I suspect it's the WEF, the World Economic Forum's version of utopia, and not your and my version of utopia. That's for sure. I think there might be one other key. I had one other piece of.
By the way, I'm just getting general. The general impression I'm getting of this, if they're talking about what they can see behind a curtain, precognition, and like the ability to kind of intuit what's behind something. There was that whole scene in Ghostbusters, if you recall, they were doing that.
Yes, and
so just kind of interesting.
And in that scene, he was shocking the guy who got it right and telling the woman that who was wrong on every guess that she got it correct because
he was sending her Twitch whispers.
Yes, pretty much because he wanted to get laid. That was Venkman wanted to get laid.
Yeah, we know how this works.
Yeah. And this is another one from UC Davis titled Psychic Spine Research Produces Credible Evidence. This links to some stuff at the Project Stargate that the CIA I think funded for a good chunk of time, sort of the military. So that's all been out there. So I think there's enough evidence to suggest that there is some sort of psychic ability. I know you're like people quibble like, well, it's you have a 53% chance better guess than if it's an emotional future event versus just a 50-50 chance. But hey, it's better than nothing. It tilts the odds in your favor, that's for sure.
By 3%?
Hey, I'll take it. You know, you could probably with that 3%, can you probably going to run some kind of numbers game over there in Vegas. You could crunch the numbers on that. It's better than nothing. I'll take it.
And then they take you out behind the woodshed.
Yeah. But they do this kind of experiment all the time where they will show people weird stuff and to see how they react to it.
I made 4 attempts to induce sexual desire by subjecting myself to erotic imagery.
Yep, that's what they do in these kind of things.
Wait, what sort of erotic imagery was Data looking at?
Maybe he goes into detail in this one.
For the past 6 hours, I have attempted to produce an emotional response by subjecting myself to various stimuli.
Wait, he was looking at porn for 6 hours?
I listened to several operas known to be uplifting.
Oh.
I watched 3 holodeck programs designed to be humorous. And I made 4 attempts to induce sexual desire by subjecting myself to erotic imagery.
What happened?
Nothing.
I'm curious.
Needs a little blue
Me
pill.
too. Yeah. It got pills for that Data.
So my question is Data, maybe the challenge here for Data, he's not human. He's a cybernetic android, whatever I'm sure there's an official Star Trek.
He's considered an android, yes.
A positronic android, whatever.
He's got a positronic brain.
Was he looking at human erotica, and thus it did not stir an emotional response in him? Whereas maybe if he was looking at like Miss Circuits in the centerfold, maybe that would be
maybe he wasn't.
Turn on for him.
Maybe he didn't try enough erotic imagery. He stuck to humans. Although in the first season of Star Trek: Next Generation, he did have sex.
He banged Natasha Yar.
Yes, he did. Yes.
The Klingon Empire will never yield.
No. Okay. I don't think she was part of the Klingon Empire, but
is that Worf's pickup line?
I guess so. I mean,
he says that during sex.
That's a pretty hard come on, but okay. Sometimes it works. I guess.
I don't want excuses, number one. I want answers.
That's as bad as the line from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where there's nothing you can possess I can't take away.
Yeah.
Like, don't say that on a date.
So there's some psychic abilities for people, and I'll put all the links to that stuff in the podcast description. So yeah, just keep in mind, it doesn't look good for us in 2025 unless we got to start thinking positive here. I think we as hippy dippy as this sound, we need to start putting out positive vibes about 2025. As weird as that sounds, even though it may have already occurred and we're receiving echoes, we must say, no, we feel good. And we will not feel the anxiety. We will produce good imagery and have fun and laughter and ignore all the doom and gloom. We'll be aware of it. But we won't let it affect us on a day-to-day basis.
Well, but it sounds like there's better times to come in 2030. So we just have to get
wait.
through 5 years of alternating years of good and bad.
We gotta hold out. If we hold out, we can do it.
What was the 7 years of famine and 7 years of porn? Something. What was the thing in the Bible? It's in the back. I don't remember.
I don't know. There was some kind of thing.
I get the 3 demandments for a foundation. The training, the
3 demandments.
The vitamins, brother.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the book of Revelation, the 3 demandments. I think Hulk got it backwards, but you want
It was
to talk
one of
about
the dreams of Joseph in Egypt. I don't remember the details, but 7 years of famine, and there were 7 skinny cows, and they ate 7 fat cows, and
At some point, I will cover the book of Enoch and the secret book of John.
There's a lot of interesting stuff in the Apocrypha. There's a lot of stuff that get.
You know the secret book of John?
Stan?
That's the secret book of Stan.
No, the secret book of John. It goes into some pretty crazy stuff. I will. I'll see if I can condense it down and tell everyone what's going on there. But
like I said, the excised books of the Bible, the Apocrypha, stuff that was taken out during the Middle Ages, I think. When did they? Whatever. I'm out of my element here, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that just gets kind of glossed over because they couldn't explain it.
Yep. I think the Catholic Church took out a lot of it. What year? Maybe like 800 or something like that.
Well, at the time, it was just the church, but yes.
I don't know. But yeah, go over
just
some
read
stuff.
those
Very
live.
interesting stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or could we have alternate Jeff Goldblum and then Robert Stack?
I could do that. I could probably do some snippets of both those gentlemen reading certain salacious passages from those two books. That might be okay.
Stan said it was during the Nicene. So was that the same time they formed the Nicene Creed? Is that what's going on there?
Okay.
Stan knows his stuff.
Yeah, he does. He knows his stuff. But we're going to move on and talk about some other items, people. There's been some movement. There's been some movement on the alien mummy front, if you can believe that. If you remember, before the Mexican Congress, several Mexican mummies were put on display. There was a lot of hubbub around it, people claiming...
I thought they were from Peru.
Well, they were from Peru, but they were presented in front of the Mexican Congress. A lot of people claim they're fake, phony, and false.
Refugees that went to Mexico and declared they needed asylum.
Well, they created a little controversy that this person, Jaime, was smuggling out artifacts from Peru without their knowledge, and so it became a point of controversy. But there were other mummies that were found, not just those two small mummies. There was a much larger mummy found that was in a fetal position, and they decided to put this thing into, I think, a CAT scan, and they wanted to see what was going on. Was it a constructed piece of fakery? Was it just chicken bones and wire? What was going on?
Bunch of chicken bones in there.
But chicken bones and wire. But no. There was something else going on. And so there is a new peer-reviewed study of this, and they kind of go into it. And they've done a good bit of research here and on this.
For the Nazca line.
I will just bring up this section. This is from Chris Lato's channel. He follows all this stuff too. And we're going to hear a conversation between a high muckety-muck, I believe, in the media and what they discovered with these mummies. So, yeah, a lot of people blew these things off, but there might be something legitimate going on here.
The mummies have elongated skulls, no ear orifices, and features suggesting they are non-human. Carbon dating suggests the mummies are around 1,771 years old. September 2023, the two mummified bodies were presented at Mexico's Congress by Jaime Maussan, claiming they were of non-human origin.
I must admit, though, I did think the whole thing was a giant hoax, which is why I never covered it on the show. But it turns out that I was likely wrong. And today we have Dr. Richard O'Connor, medical doctor, MD, to discuss the peer-reviewed paper that concludes that these mummies are actually not made of cake, but they're rather real corpses of what appears to be extraterrestrial beings.
I knew him for over 25 years. And, I knew him well. And having known him well, I can reassure everybody here that's listening and that Dr. Marcel's story of being involved in the Roswell UFO crash event and handling that material and closely inspecting it, holding it in his hands, he and his father and his mother, that all happened for sure. I just guarantee you that it happened because I knew the man well enough to know that he would never, ever have made up any of that story. He just wasn't that kind of a person. He was an amazing physician and an American soldier, a patriot, a helicopter pilot for the Montana National Guard. At age 68, he went to Iraq and served there as a flight surgeon and a helicopter pilot. And he was actually even in the Navy early in his life, and was blackening his face on board a ship during the Cuban Missile Crisis, ready to invade Cuba.
Wow.
So, this man, people don't realize all the things that he did in his life and just what an excellent person he was. So, I've known since I met him in 1988 that we're not alone on this planet.
Jesse Marcel Jr. is an amazing person. You've seen the interviews with his father. He was the first one on the scene at Roswell. And Marcel Jr., he's been a ENT surgeon and volunteer military. He's been saying it for many decades that we're not alone, and it actually happened. Roswell crash was real, so quite compelling. Let's get to a section now on the actual peer-reviewed paper.
Yes, thank you.
They're quite beautiful little creatures. And, on the right, this is what they look like when they die under the microscope. They're very complex little shells that we see, sort of reminiscent of seashells, but in a very fine powder. And so that's why these Nazca mummies look so white. This is the article that you were referring to, published in the Revista de Gestão Social y Ambiental, which is a Brazilian journal. It's, I would say it's not a very widely read journal, but nonetheless, it is a peer-reviewed journal. And so it was very gratifying to see the information about these mummies printed in a peer-reviewed journal. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going through the details of this article. People can look it up and read it for themselves. But, basically what they found was that this one mummy that they call Maria has an elongated skull. And in the CT scans, they don't see any evidence of skull binding, which has been one of the big arguments that we've heard over and over again about why the Paracas skulls must have these elongated skulls. Well, in this particular case, there is no evidence whatsoever. You don't see any rings in the bony calvarium, the skull. You don't see any evidence of binding. There were no hair on this Nazca mummy they call Maria. No ear auricles.
Aliens!
Maria has a cranial volume that's 30% greater than humans. In the paper, they say that she has 4 phalanges in the hands and in the feet.
Disgusting.
We could call them 4 phalanges and 4 metacarpals and metatarsals, or in my way of looking at them, they have 5 phalanges because they don't seem to have a palm.
So they're real, according to this Brazilian journal, and there's actual video if you want to watch the CT scan of this. I will put this in the description. I'll put it up on the screen real quick. But it appears that this mummy may also had been pregnant, that they've detected what appears to be a fetus inside of this mummy. So if it was fake, it is probably one of the most elaborate fakes of all time, or it is real. And this is a real mummy of a real creature, most likely not manipulated and purposely deformed by elongating their skulls, but this is how it was born. And there is crazy things going on here. I'd like to see how NASA and some of the naysayers respond. I'd like to see how Mick West responds to this peer-reviewed Brazilian paper on these bodies.
The CT scan itself is very interesting.
Yeah, it's on screen. I'll put that in there. And it's kind of hard to understand, but there's subtitles there so you guys can take a look at it. And they're suggesting that, yeah, this is the mummy was pregnant at that time.
Uh-oh.
And so fascinating.
Sue people for murder.
Fascinating turn of events when it comes to these Peru mummies, Peruvian mummies. But crazy stuff. It's all happening, people. It is all happening. I don't know why I got to say it, but I will.
It's all happening.
And this is only like partial of it's all happening. Got more stuff, and I'm going to play this.
This is partial happening.
This is partial happening. I'll play this little video here because I found it to be interesting. We like when people take videotape of like UFOs, Bigfoot, all that kind of stuff, and it always helps the video when they punch it up with their own commentary, and that's what we get right here in this next video clip. Here we go. I'll bring this. Got to use the other browser for this. I can't use Brave for that. I got to use.
Well, yeah, you got a secret browser over there. What's going on?
Secret browser right here, Cratchit. I'm not telling you which one I'm using. It's between me and the browser.
Mike's wrote his own browser.
Yeah. I'll bring this up on screen right here so we all can enjoy it. Thank you. No, not that one.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in your fancy browser.
No. Where's the... Here it is. Sorry, people. Here we go.
Losing faith in this browser.
I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up. Timmy, you ain't fucked up. But that shit's getting all but close to the moon. You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Our fuck is fucked up. Our government is fucked up.
What do you think he thinks about this?
Why? Bam.
What did it just hit?
Look at it. Look at the fucking smoke ring. Are you fucking shitting me? I'm a drunk ass redneck. Videoing some fucking shit. Like, what in the fuck is that?
Mike, what the fuck is this?
There's the fucking moon. This bullshit just sent a fucking shockwave. What the?
So, I mean, what we're looking at is some light in the sky. It looks to be moving up into the sky a little further, approaching like the moon, but we don't think it's close to the moon. And then as it goes past the moon, a smoke ring appears to be coming out in front of it. Any speculation as to what this could be, Cratchit? Is this a rocket launch?
I assume it's a rocket launch, yeah. I assume it's a rocket launch.
It'd be weird. I mean, just its trajectory is a little weird.
It depends on perspective. Once those things get to high altitude, up in the upper stratosphere, as they start moving, if it's coming towards you, it's going to look stationary, but yet still be producing the vapor behind it. So
it does look a little weird, but probably a rocket.
What is it, Mike?
It's probably
stop yelling.
Yeah.
Are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, I got all those.
I do like. Yeah, that guy.
Redneck.
There'd be a lot of great clips in there if he didn't have his truck idling in the background.
Yes.
Like, what in the fuck is that?
Yeah, I tried to tame it down.
Videoing some fucking shit.
Did you get you did get the drunk ass redneck, right?
Yeah, I got the drunk ass.
I'm a drunk ass redneck.
Yeah.
Mike, what the fuck is this?
Will you stop yelling?
Stop yelling. He's not as good as the excited Canadian lady.
No, or this guy.
Aliens! Y'all need to be calling damn news.
Yeah.
Y'all need to be shooting this shit right here.
Can't be taught by Jay and his buddy in Boston.
No.
Oh my God, Jay!
Yeah, exactly.
What is that thing?
Like, what in the fuck is that?
You've got a whole cast of characters now.
Yeah, I do. It's like,
Jay, what the fuck is that?
Are you fucking shitting me?
I don't know what this is.
Videoing some fucking shit.
Oh man, look at this fucking thing. Oh man.
I'm a drunk ass redneck.